this going?
This is the Variety Sports Network, created for the fans, by the fans. Now to your host of tonight's show.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Sunday Morning Tailgate. I am your host, Doug, along with three guys you probably know from the Variety Sports Network. We've got David, Jordan, and Brandon, our fearless leader. Guys, let's kick it off how we always kick it off on Sunday Morning Tailgate with a drink.
Sure.
Cheers to you guys. Let's have a great one. Man, ooh, that feels good.
It's 10:45 in the morning for me, so I'm not gonna
Hey.
start my alcoholic beverages yet.
You're on the tailgate. You got to do it. You're on the tailgate.
I much like Brandon am enjoying coffee. It's way too early for a beer yet.
It's okay. Hey, you got to do what you got to do at the tailgate. Guys, week 2 of Sunday Morning Tailgate. Let's get right into it. Do you guys enjoy the London games? I'm going to just come at you and ask a different way. Do you guys enjoy the London games? David, we'll start with you.
Okay, so I enjoy the London games from a perspective that it's unique. It's something that's special that's going on, and it spreads the game of football in general. I like anything that spreads, a sport and helps it grow. I hate getting up at 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday to turn on a football game. For me, in the Central Time Zone, I can't imagine what it's like on the folks from the West Coast getting up at 6:30. That's got to be a miserable experience.
They aren't getting up that early.
Exactly. They're not getting up that early. But yeah, that's my one thing is the timing's bad. I do appreciate now that the schedule's at 17 games. I think almost every team should have a neutral site game. But in all honesty, the timing is just terrible between, going over to Europe and everything else. So, there's got to be a better way to do it.
I'm with you on that. Jordan, any thoughts? I mean, we're on the East Coast, so we've got a little bit more of a window. What are your thoughts on the London games?
I don't hate it. I do think it's kind of a mess for as big as fantasy and, other spinoffs with the NFL that kind of go with it, especially betting and kind of looking at how that's taken off, especially with it being legal, at least where we're at. I think it's great to get the game out there, kind of touching on what he said, but I do think the timing can be kind of a mess because you're either getting up at 6:30, you're getting up at 8:30. I think production companies, especially for bigger networks, they got to start their predictions a lot earlier or even the night before. It's got the good with the bad, but I think the NFL will get it figured out.
For sure. Brandon, last thing on the NFL London games, thoughts?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this the other day, actually, so it's kind of funny that you brought this up. Why not do this on like one of those Mondays, everybody has, most people have off,
like a holiday,
do it on a holiday or something like that. A holiday, in the United States, and then you haven't, your early Monday. You still get the doubleheader on Monday. You get the early game and early game from London, but maybe push it back another hour to where it starts at 10:30 or something like that. And then you get the nightcap with Monday Night Football. I think that wouldn't be a bad idea.
I don't hate that. No.
I don't know if I like, I kind of like what the other guys have said. It's early. It's early.
Yeah, it really is.
I just think sometimes you look at the London games and you completely forget about them too. So when you go to set your fantasy lineups and stuff, you're like, oh shit. I forgot I had this guy playing today this morning. So that's one downfall.
Shout out to Tyler McGurk, San Fran fan. A real wild card if you follow him. Great guy though. Always appreciate his input on things. Check out his San Francisco podcast if you got some time. Guys, let's just do a quick check-in over in the London games now that we brought it up. I've got Jacksonville 11-7 over Buffalo with about 3 to go. Not a lot of offense in this one. Do you guys think that has anything to do with the travel or just a harder game between two? I mean, Jacksonville's record is 2-2, but two decently good teams, I would say. Jordan, thoughts on the lower scoring game out in London today?
I don't think Jacksonville has much room to say anything about it because they've been there over a week now because they were there last week previously. Yeah. I do think the Bills the timing completely looks off with their receivers. Josh Allen's doing a couple underthrows. I mean, it could have a lot to do with the jet lag and the fact that they just got out of a huge divisional game last week that didn't necessarily go as planned, as many predicted. But coming off that huge upset with the energy and having to pack up and go into a completely different time zone, yeah, I think it has a huge impact on them.
David, same question to you. Any thoughts on the low scoring out there?
I mean, the low scoring, I definitely think the Bills, after you're coming off a huge win against Miami last week, we know how this offense operates. They can put up points in a hurry. Definitely there's a difference between a team being used to that time zone, being used to being over there and adapted to it for an entire week, than the Bills who just jumped upon this weekend. Over the week before the game. So yeah, I think that's got something to do with it. A little bit of jet lag, whatever it is. I've flown internationally. It stinks. So I could definitely understand, having a little bit of fatigue getting over there in London for that game.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Brandon, anything else you got on the jet lag of traveling across the pond?
No, my thoughts always go a little differently when you kind of think of these things. I don't know why I always think the extra stuff with it. If you got a team that's going to play overseas, give them either the bye week before or give them bye week after. You got to feel for Atlanta too. They got to come, after coming back from last week, they got a game this weekend. You're going to do that kind of stuff. Give them at least a bye week before so they can get there earlier to kind of get accommodated to things, or give them the bye week afterwards. That's just where my mind went to it. But I know I'm not surprised in the score. I figured Jacksonville would have more of an advantage over Buffalo's being there, 2 weeks now, almost 2 weeks now. So I figured they would have it a lot easier than their, I guess what the score is now.
Right. Well, I just touching on that again, Brandon. I remember a couple of years ago when they were touching on the idea of a possible European division in the NFL sometime in the future. The idea was to send the team over there and they'd play a full month between the 4 teams that were over there in Europe before coming home. So, and that's exactly to that change of getting adapted to just being over there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I totally understand the acclimation part of that, but Jesus, that sounds like a rough month for an NFL player. You could just see how that would go sideways quick. First class travel, everything chartered. It's got to be easier than playing Sunday than I would say it's easier playing than Thursday night. That is for sure. I do agree with that, Tyler. Appreciate you chiming in, of course. Guys, now that we've stepped into this week, let's look back on last week, week 4 recap. Throw the old slides up here from last week. Guys, this is just, we got one more slide, but based on last week's games, what was your biggest surprise from week 4? Jordan, we'll start with you.
Other than that, I'm a little sore about it, so I'm going to touch on it just for a minute. The Jets, I called it last week. I said it was going to happen, and damn, it was so close. So competitive. That's some of the most gorgeous balls he's ever thrown as a pro, as a Jets quarterback in his time there. And I was disappointed to see it go the other way. But that was my upset pick of the week.
Yeah. A couple whistles really were questionable in that game. I think everybody's established that. It was a solid call. I mean, if a couple things go differently in terms of whistles, and the Jets might pull off a big upset there. Brandon, biggest surprise from week 4?
Probably the Tennessee Cincinnati game.
God damn,
They're rough. Cincinnati is having it this year. I don't know if how I saw something this morning. I don't know how true like the reports and stuff are. I don't know what that was about, but dogs are getting after it with a toy or something.
Yeah.
That one surprises me. I don't know how true the rumors are, but I don't. That Jamar Chase might not be so happy in Cincinnati anymore.
Well, when you get interviewed after the game and you say you're open every fucking play, you're probably not thrilled. And I do understand that sentiment a little bit. I think the excuses are over. Joe Burrow said, I'm playing. If I'm playing, I should be playing at a certain level. And I respect that from Joe a lot because he does look a little hampered in the pocket.
Mhm.
But you're out there. And at this point, your team needs you to play better. And he's not been good. So to me, as long as Jamar Chase doesn't take it any steps further, I don't mind that comment because Joe Burrow has proved to us in the past that he can play at a certain level, and Jamar Chase expects that from his quarterback. So to me, I didn't hate that, but wide receivers always get a bad rap when they speak their mind, and I think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have been together long enough that Jamar Chase can speak his mind and Joe not take it completely off, the reservation.
Yeah.
So keep going with that, Brandon. Yeah.
I want to chime in on that a little bit, and
Go ahead.
we've all played sports and we've all been involved in one level or another. I think especially after a loss and continuing, coming off a win, going back to a loss, and how they lost it because they were out physical on all sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You put a microphone in anybody's face, or you come talk to them. You could even be playing, backyard football, and you come up and you lose against a team that you've actually been beaten for the last couple of years now. Anything's liable to come out of your mouth. I wouldn't invest too much into what he said because he has to believe in himself. He is wide receiver one, and I think you're going to expect an athlete of that caliber to say something like that. So especially being infuriated on how it ended. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
David, biggest surprise from week 4.
Yeah, so I've actually got 2, and I'll touch on one real fast. No, I was not surprised by any of the win results, but like the scores were just completely different than what I thought. Like Miami, Buffalo, I expected a much closer game. I thought Buffalo would win it last week, but like obviously they ran away with it at the end of the day. And then on the other side, last week we were talking about the Giants and Seahawks game, thinking it's like, oh, the Giants are better than their record. This should be a decent football game.
Right.
Again, maybe that's not true at all. Maybe the Giants are just terrible. And maybe
it's very possible.
Accept that because the Seahawks beat the crap out of them. And Daniel Jones does not look like worth the money that he's being paid right now by that organization. So
not even close.
It's bad. It's really bad. So again, for another year, it looks like the Giants are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL and definitely the worst team in the NFC East.
In the NFC.
Thank you. The NFC.
Yeah.
And then you said you had one more?
Oh, I went to both of them. It was the Buffalo and Miami and then the New York.
Oh, yeah. I got caught up on the Giants being awful.
Yeah.
I think we all
did. Hey, your Cleveland Browns didn't look so great last week.
Yeah, we played with a quarterback who's never played a down of football in the NFL against a good Baltimore Ravens team. So
I was about to say, at least he has an excuse.
I mean, here's the thing. True. And I was really disappointed because I watched DTR in the preseason and I thought, okay, he can throw it around a little bit. I think we'll keep it close. I wouldn't if we beat him, that would be an aberration. But the first time I saw him try to throw a deep ball, and he just didn't have the arm strength that you expect from a quarterback playing on this level, I knew it was bad. And the defense was out there way too long. They got worn out. The Ravens are hard enough to defend when you have a good offense. So it was just way too much to expect to overcome. And I know our graphic here is swapped. Tampa Bay beat the Saints 26-9, just in case anybody's wondering. David, no, you put this together. We appreciate that. I just wanted to give that quick correction.
I'm human.
My biggest surprise, guys, it's got to be the Houston Texans beating the Steelers the way they beat them.
Oh, come on now. That's not
as an AFC North team that's had my ass kicked by the Steelers for decades now. you expect a certain level of football, but Kenny Pickett, if this continues, the Steelers are in the market for a quarterback. I think that's where we have to head with this, because Kenny Pickett is not getting it done at a level that the Steelers are accustomed to, and I think that won't go unnoticed by the franchise for long. You guys got any thoughts on Kenny Pickett's future if this doesn't get turned around? David, we'll start with you.
I mean, last week he was under duress. It was everything else. It's been a rough season, period, for Kenny Pickett.
True.
Overall, this team's just been bad for the last 2 seasons. So do you hold on and be patient is kind of my thought process, and put pieces around him, or do you think it's already time to move on? It's a serious question, and I don't know if I have the answer right now.
Yeah.
Because, like, do I want to see another full season of football before I make that change? Does the team get better throughout the course of the year? I mean, what's the plan going forward? So that's kind of where I have more questions than I have answers right now for Kenny Pickett in this situation.
I think that's a fair assessment. Brandon, thoughts on Kenny Pickett?
I'll actually give my thought. I think they need to get some other more weapons around him besides Jalen Warren and Najee Harris. Defensively, they're there, and they've always been that defensive team. I don't think we've ever. I mean, realistically, have we ever seen a Pittsburgh team that's putting up 40 points a week? I mean, they're always that defensive team that's gonna shut you down no matter what, and they're gonna make you beat them. To be honest, I think Houston's better than we think they are too. I think they're, and they showed that last week. They showed it the week before when they, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, whenever they kind of embarrassed Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Houston is a much better team. CJ Stroud is a legitimate top tier, to be a top tier quarterback in this league, I think. Jordan, thoughts on Kenny Pickett?
I think he's kind of in the same situation as Justin Fields over in the Bears organization. Do you wait to see if he gets better? Do you go out and invest and get more weapons around him? I think the Steelers move on. I think the animosity with the offensive coordinator doesn't help him. And if they move on from the offensive coordinator, then the new guy that comes in, that's not going to be his pick. That's not going to be who he wants to ride with. So if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm looking for the future. And, I would start shopping him around probably as soon as possible. Yeah. But that's just me. You got aging stars on defense. So you got to ask, how much do those guys have left in the tank for you to be a top tier level on the pass, on the run defense, and how much time you want to waste, not necessarily waste, but how much time you want to let go by before that window on that defense closes, and then you got to restart a new fresh set. So time there is very limited.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Guys, got anything else to say on the Kenny Pickett topic?
Yeah,
besides the fact, one thing, David, before you start.
Oh, yeah.
I will never root for a quarterback to succeed that wears 2 gloves any time of the year. I won't do it. I refuse to do it. I absolutely hate the fact that he wears 2 gloves. It bothers the shit out of me, guys.
Were Kurt Warner hater back in the day?
Maybe he did, but I don't remember it. And that guy used to bag groceries before he played in the league, so I respect him for that.
He's a Super Bowl champion. So
yeah, no, it's a little bit different. But the 2 glove look just rubs me the wrong way. It really does. David, what were your thoughts before we switch to topic?
Yeah, I was going to say on the Kenny Pickett situation, and the reason I continue to have more questions is that, he's not getting any help in the running game to take the pressure off the passing game for him. I mean, when you look at where the Steelers rank in, average rushing yards per game, they're 29th in the league. Najee Harris is not giving them any help on the offensive side. Nothing is going well for the Steelers overall offensively. So it's hard. It's really easy in the NFL to say the quarterback's the problem, but if you look at the entirety of the offense and the other situations that's going on, that's why I have more questions, because I just think the offense is just terribly put together in general. And you got a lot of thoughts put together, because Najee Harris was a star coming out of college. Why is he playing so bad? Why is the offense so bad? You have to ask those questions before you just punt your quarterback.
I think a lot of it has to do with Matt Canada and what he's the style of offense that he's trying to put together in Pittsburgh. I don't think it's obviously not working for them. I mean, you saw the little, I don't know how many of you saw, but there was a little clip of Chris Boswell, and it had Matt Canada celebrating with Mike Tomlin. And Chris Boswell had the nice little saying of
Wasn't you?
It wasn't you. He's like, I can guarantee you that win wasn't you. Yeah.
That's rough when you got your kicker is putting down the OC. That's not great for going forward. Guys, let's move ahead. We still got an 11-7 score over in London. Let's get into our Week 5 preview and conversation, guys. David, let's start with you. I want your top 5 teams in the NFL right now, starting at 5.
All right, starting at 5. I think for another week, I think I had the Cowboys somewhere in the top 5. I think I'm going to continue to put them somewhere in 5. I'll call them 5 right now. 4, I still believe in the Dolphins. It was just a rough week last week going on the road and playing in Buffalo. So I'm going to keep the Dolphins in my top 5. I'm going to have the Chiefs 3. Obviously, that was not a pretty game against New York, but I still contend they are the team to beat in the AFC. And then looking at the rest of the league, I still have San Francisco number 1. Mm-hmm. Philly probably would be my number 2 team right now. But obviously last week was a little bit more stressful than Philly fans are asking for against the Commanders.
Yeah, that's fair. Jordan, top 5 teams right now. Go ahead.
As much as it pains me because I am from Cincinnati, I still have Cleveland at 5. Miles food after a game kind of scares me. I think when Deshaun Watson gets back in healthy, you're going to see that offense make a turnaround. They got some offensive line issues going on, but I think they're going to sort it through. I got the Dolphins at 4. I'm not hitting the panic button on them yet. They're a little bit lower than what my original thought was last week. Mm-hmm. I've got the Bills at 3, even though they look a little off, but they are in London. I have the Cowboys at 2. As much as it pains me, a lot of their questions will be answered tonight. So we'll see that. And, I'm not trying to leave San Francisco out, but, I still got the Eagles at 1. I think they're going to sort through some things.
Hold on. You don't have San Francisco in your top 5?
He didn't do it last week. He doesn't respect them. Well, he didn't do it.
I think they're such a system team. I think I still believe Purdy's a system quarterback with one of the greatest run games built around him. And when you get deep to the playoffs, I don't think it's going to pan out. So that's my top 5. I'm sticking to it. I know it's be criticized, but that's okay.
Brandon, go ahead and give us your top 5.
Yeah, so number 5, I have them. Because I did it through the Twitter page, or I guess X page the other day. So at 5, I have Miami. I think their game against Buffalo, they're still a good team, but kind of got possibly maybe a little exposed against Buffalo last week. Number 4, I have Kansas City. Number 3, I have the Philadelphia Eagles, even though they probably should have lost to the Commanders. Yeah. Number 2, Buffalo, and then number 1 is the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah. As it should be. Some people just aren't getting it, but that's okay. My Power 5, starting at 5, I got the Bills. I've got the boys at 4, Chiefs at 3, Philly at 2, 49ers at 1. I do think that 6 and 7 spot are very close to being top 5. The Fins, and I do think the Lions, if they win this week, I think they're really making a push to be in this group of 5.
I did get some shit for putting the Texans in my top 10.
Yeah, that was a little early. It was a little early for the Texans, but I think they're heading in the right direction for sure.
Good team wins last 2 weeks.
What's your guys' game of the week? Is it David? We'll go ahead and get yours out of the way. I think we know your pick, but let's go ahead and get your guys' game of the week this week.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty obvious what my game of the week is. It is the Sunday night game, Cowboys and 49ers. As we heard, general consensus, these are 2 top 5 teams in the NFL, except for Jordan. He doesn't seem to be in that camp. Great defense versus a great running game. It's going to be super entertaining. It's going to be fun to watch. Obviously, 2 of the biggest brands in the NFL when you talk about the 49ers and the Cowboys. I mean, there's going to be a lot of eyes on this game. Almost as many eyes as Taylor Swift at a Jets game last week on Sunday night.
Oh, man. Yeah. She's only there for Travis Kelce. That's the only reason she was there.
Yeah, but it's going to be a super entertaining game. I'm ready to see how this Cowboys defense stacks up against one of the better offenses in the NFL, and I'm ready to see how the Cowboys play against some of the better competition in the NFL and where they truly rank among the rest of the NFC.
Gotcha. Jordan, game of the week.
I'm going to have to agree with them, especially all eyes on NFC tonight. Cowboys, 49ers. Really see if the Cowboys are pretenders or if they are going to step up against a great defense, a great run game, and just see how all that all pans out. So,
Brandon, game of the week.
Yeah, I think it's hard when you look at the rest of the league this week. It's hard not to put that one at the top and be like, of course, it's going to get the top spot this week. And it's a great game to have this early in the season, because not only are you looking at an early season, seeding matchup kind of wise, but you also could possibly looking at a don't want to jinx the Bear because I know they haven't been there in a while, but NFC Championship game.
Yeah. I'm going to zag just because you guys all picked the same game. I think the Eagles and the Rams game is much more interesting today now. Puka and Cooper Kupp on the field at the same time for the first time this season. The Rams have been low-key very solid this year. If Stafford can keep the turnovers to a minimum against a good Eagles defense, I think they've got a shot to keep this close.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be watching this one to see, hey, are the Rams a threat to the 49ers potentially if they can give the Eagles a scare here? Puka and Cooper Kupp, how are they going to be as a duo? I know Puka with the targets. Cooper Kupp's a high-volume target guy himself. How do they distribute the ball to those two guys? I think it's very interesting to watch. So since you guys picked the obvious one, I'm just going to zag and go a different direction, and I'll be interested to see those offenses.
Puka and Kupp are basically the same guys.
Exactly. So that's why I'm interested. How are the targets going to get dealt out? Who's, is Kupp going to come back and be, Cooper Kupp that we've come accustomed to? Can Puka play with another guy who's a high volume guy? Guys, let's get into our predictions for the week. Let's start off at the top. Brandon's Texans versus the Falcons today. Brandon, tell us who wins this game.
I'm sorry, Mike and John, but I'm going to go with the Texans.
You're out of your Falcon mind.
I know. No, I want to go with the Texans in this one. I think they're playing. CJ Stroud's playing too well right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Desmond Ritter's not playing well enough. The Falcons' run game is really good, but the fact that their wide receivers aren't being used and their tight ends aren't being used like I think they should be. I think the Texans get this one.
Jordan, who you got?
I got to go on the hype train. I think Stroud's playing amazing football. I think the offense is in sync. They're blocking him really well. He's not making too many mistakes in the pocket. He's not making, almost no turnovers at all for as high volumes as he passes. I got to go with the Texans on this one. Atlanta just doesn't have it together right now in quarterback play. And, like he said, their skill position, they don't look in sync. They look like they're figuring stuff out.
David, who we got?
Yeah, give me the Texans at home. I'm with it. I think CJ Stroud is a better quarterback than Desmond Ridder. I do understand the Falcons, like Brandon was saying, have a good run game, but I'm rocking with the Texans here. I think, at home, CJ Stroud the better quarterback. I don't have a lot of faith in Desmond Ridder. I'm saying the Texans continue a hot streak.
Let's make it a clean sweep for the Texans this week. As an Ohio State fan, I've been a supporter of CJ Stroud for a while now. I think he continues the good play. And Atlanta just don't do it for me on offense yet. I'm going to stick with the Texans. Next game, 0-4 Panthers visit the 1-3 Lions, or the 3-1 Lions. Anybody pulling an upset here? Anyone?
No.
Anyone? Okay. No. We're all going Lions here, guys. We'll keep that one easy because the Panthers they need more talent.
If it wasn't Carolina, I think it'd be a little bit closer to a game. But the fact it's in Detroit, and I think from my understanding, like the Lions have scored at least 30 points in like their last 10 games.
Yeah,
that's enough right there for me to pick.
I think the score. It's just I don't think they have enough on defense.
Yeah.
Right. David, any thoughts on this one?
I mean, just honestly, Carolina. I've got a buddy who's a Carolina fan, and he's just been telling me how miserable he is every week at work. But yeah, this one should be totally Lions. I think they're just simply the better football team overall,
Yep.
and being in Detroit just is another advantage for them.
Totally fair. I'm with you on that one. Let's move on, guys. A battle in the AFC South, Titans and Colts, both at 2-2. Richardson back this week. Jordan, who we got? Titans and Colts.
I'm going to go with the Colts. I think, especially, I know they're still decimated on the offensive side with some pretty significant injuries, but I think getting the contract locker room right. The Colts have been playing some good ball. They did beat Detroit just 2 weeks ago. Or excuse me, they did beat Baltimore 2 weeks ago. I apologize. But yeah, I'm going with Colts on this one.
David, what do we got? Colts, Titans.
So I'm rocking with the Titans here. Obviously, that was a big win last week against the Bengals for the Titans. I think a lot of us were like, oh, no, they're going to get beat after finding out that Treylon Burks was out for the Titans. But one of the things that I've, looking at here, Titans, believe it or not, are right up there as a top 10 defense. They've allowed the 8th fewest yards in the NFL this year. I think that's going to be pretty tough on a rookie quarterback like Anthony Richardson. I'm hoping I'm wrong because he's on my fantasy team. But we'll see how that goes. But right now, I'm rocking with the Titans.
Brandon, what do we got?
Give me the Colts at home. I think Anthony Richardson is going to be too much for the Tennessee Titans this week.
Yep. Yeah, give me the Titans. Give me Derrick Henry. I think he's getting right. I think he's starting to head the right way. And shout out to Jimmy. Finally got Taylor playing football for him on his fantasy team. That's a big upgrade. Good for him. Next game on the list, Giants versus Dolphins. Yeah, it's tough over there. Giants versus Dolphins. Is anybody taking the Giants to win this game?
Absolutely.
Brandon, upset alert.
I don't want to say so, but this is a game that first. It just seems like it's going to be one of those weeks where, like, we're going to be completely wrong about all of this, because it's happened before. Like, it's like, oh yeah, this is an easy one, and then like Carolina or somebody will come out and win like 35-14 or something like that, and just go off. But no, I'll pick the Dolphins.
Yeah. Anybody? David, Jordan, anything?
I mean, logic just dictates the Dolphins. And I get what Brandon's saying. Like, the Giants are seriously overdue to have a good football game. But, like, yeah, logic just tells me Dolphins all day long.
I think the Giants will play cleaner, but there's still no Barkley backfield. Mm-hmm. Darren Waller's been a complete disaster since he's got there, being underutilized, also having health issues. It's just too much to overcome too soon. Dolphins are going to come out angry. And especially with the kind of, I consider it a weird trade, them getting Chase Claypool kind of out of nowhere when they already have a crowded receiver room. But look for them to pass extremely heavy today.
Yep. Yeah, Dolphins pretty easily. Quick update. Jacksonville goes ahead 18-7 over in London. Looks like they might pull the upset here. That's a big.
Is it really
big
an
game.
upset?
Yeah, for sure.
You really think so?
Jacksonville beating the Bills?
I don't know if it's an upset.
Well, David, you have a look on your face. What are your thoughts, David?
I mean, I think the Bills are the better football team, but again, we were talking about it like at the beginning of this. Jacksonville's been over there for a week, so I mean, not a shocker. So I get where Brandon's coming from, but I do think the better team is definitely losing this football game. Right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say the team that's more accustomed to London is doing well today, then sure. But if they played in America, I think the Bills would win. I mean, I don't. I think the Bills are better overall. They're just having a bad game. Let's move ahead though. Saints versus Patriots. David, let's start with you. Who you got in this one?
So honestly, the Pats had a terrible week last week. I'm not sure how much I trust Mac at this point, but I do think they're overdue. They've been competitive in a ton of games this season. So maybe I'm feeling maybe just a little bit of Pats, not even a logic pick here. I'm just thinking, honestly, Belichick gets a dub out of somewhere coming up pretty soon, and it may be against the Saints today. But, logic doesn't tell me that. That's more just a gut instinct.
Yeah. Brandon, Saints, Pats. What we got?
It looks like Derek Carr is going to play today.
Yeah.
But what scares me is that Tyson Hill is the leading rusher on the Saints right now. Which isn't necessarily great. But give me Derek Carr in the Saints this week.
To be fair though, Kamara's been out, so that's probably
I know.
So, Jordan, Saints and Pats. What do we got?
With the injury to Judon, I'm going to go with the Saints. I don't think the Patriots are going to have a big enough of a pass rush to re-aggravate that injury and to get into Carr's head. So I think I think the Saints come out and get it right. I think they lean on more of the run game if they can create it as a community. But I have the Saints.
I just want to throw that out there real fast. These are two of the top 15 defenses when it comes to yards allowed. So I am anticipating a lower scoring game today.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to make it very compelling with a lot of drama at the end of this one. So I do think that's important of interest to point out in this game.
Yeah.
Counter to that, David, Judon and Gonzalez are out. They're two of their best defensive players. The Pats could be in trouble today with those two major injuries. The Pats did trade for J.C. Jackson. Not sure how much he'll be involved in the game plan today at corner, but when you lose two of your best defenders, that top 15 defense could turn into a little bit of a need a week to readjust. So I think that's a good point from you, but I also think those injuries are really big injuries.
It's going to be
I'm going to take the Saints, but I do think the Pats somehow they'll just keep it close. They'll be around. If Mac Jones has a good game, I would not be surprised if they could beat this Saints team. Ravens versus Steelers, guys. Battle in the AFC North. Jordan, as an AFC North resident, how you feeling about this one?
I think the Ravens get it done today. I don't see the Steelers. They're still in disarray. Their locker room's in disarray. The offense is still out of sync. And the Ravens got their own issues going on the defensive side with injuries, especially losing their top corner. But I think they'll overcome it with dose of Lamar Jackson on the ground and some RPOs. But I got Baltimore all the way.
Brandon, Baltimore versus the Steelers. What do we got?
Give me Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. David?
Yeah, give me Baltimore. Steelers just stink on offense. I mean, there's no nice way to put it. So yeah, give me Baltimore.
Yep, I got Baltimore also. The Steelers, like I said, Kenny Pickett wears two gloves. That does it for me right there. Next one, Eagles Rams in a game I think will be a lot closer than people think. The line is Eagles -4, but I think this is going to be a tight one. I'm pretty excited about this. David, go ahead and give us your Eagles and Rams.
Yeah, so I'm still rocking with the Eagles here. It's not going to be an easy game. This is going to be a pretty tough one. I'm not expecting a ton out of Cooper Kupp. I've actually got him benched on fantasy. Coming off injury is always a tough thing, so I'm not expecting a ton out of Kupp this week. But overall, I do think Hurts solid. Still believe a lot in this Philly team. I think Philly's pretty darn good, which is still very painful for me to say as a Cowboys fan.
Right. Brandon, what do we got this week?
Kind of looking at the stats and everything and whatnot. I kind of like the idea. They're playing in LA. So that's a cross country travel for Philly. Give me the Rams in this one. Give me the Rams to pull it'll be a close game. It'll come down to like a last minute field goal or something like that. Or the Rams are just going to turn it up today and they'll be, it won't even be a close game. And it's going to be that game that's going to question whether or not Philly's that good of a team.
Jordan, Eagles, Rams, what do we got?
I kind of feel the same way I did about the Jets game last week. So I got the Rams for this one. I think Cooper Kupp, even though he'll be on probably a pitch count, but expect to see some packages, especially down and in red zone situations. And I think they find a way. Aaron Donald is still Aaron Donald. I think he makes a huge impact, and I think this locker room gets it right.
I think the running game makes a big difference in this game.
Yeah, they got to run the ball. You got to run the ball.
Yeah. Kyron Williams is solid. He's a solid running back. Where Philadelphia's running back room and running back situation isn't solidified enough.
Swift in the gang. I like Swift. I think they're good. I think those guys are good.
I will say the Eagles do have the second highest producing rushing yards per game in the NFL right now.
Mhm.
They're averaging 165.3 yards per game, which is the second
That's a
highest
lot.
behind Miami. And the Rams are actually, I believe, somewhere around 20 on defense in rushing yards allowed per game. So it's the running game is going to be crucial on both sides of the ball.
For both sides, yeah.
Yeah.
That's only because Nick Chubb's out, guys. Stop. Okay.
Hey, at least he'll get to play football again. That's the only
that's great.
Positive side about that whole thing.
I want to pull up Jimmy's comment. Jimmy, we did comment on the London situation. We talked about the Jags being there an extra week and the Bills not. We do think that has been an issue. Moving on to the next game, guys. The battle of the 1 and 3s to the bottom feeders in the NFL, the Bengals and the Cardinals. Jordan, as a Bengals fan, how do you feel about being a bottom feeder again?
I still think the team is better than a record. It's not even being biased, but the injury bug. I don't have much confidence today. I'm missing Cam Taylor-Britt. Chido Awuzie is going to be out. Even though I think he should have probably started on the PUP list coming out of ACL surgery because he hasn't looked like himself. T. Higgins out with a rib issue, and just no answers on the offensive line. We went and we signed a big money tackle from a Super Bowl winning team, and you look at his PFF grades, and it has not panned out.
Who you got today? Bengals, Cardinals. Who you got?
I got the Cardinals.
I like it. As a Bengals fan, that is hilarious. David, go ahead. Who you got? Bengals, Cardinals.
Yeah, I think this is definitely this week's car crash bowl, as you put it last week. Love it. This is the battle of the terrible right now. But I do agree with Jordan that the Bengals are better than their record. They're just playing bad. So we got to figure this out. But honestly, here's the weird thing. I was looking at the numbers, and Josh Dobbs is actually playing better than Kenny Pickett, Ryan Tannehill, Daniel Jones, and Derek Carr. And I know Carr's had situations with the Saints, but he's not horrible. So he's managing these games to get the Cardinals where they want to go. So unless, you're trying to tank, but like the situation overall, he's not been a horrible quarterback. So I would not be surprised if the Cardinals win this game, but I do think the Bengals, that would be my pick. My pick is the Bengals.
Brandon, who we got?
I'm gonna go.
Should I respond to this right now, or do you want to go first?
So here's my thoughts on both of these two teams. Both of these two teams are not 1 and 3 football teams. I think Arizona is better than they are. Cincinnati is a better football team than they are. They're just getting the, rough end of the stick right now. Yeah. I think actually this game is going to be a very good game today. I think Josh Dobbs is a very, that's weird saying that, is a solid quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals right now. And then Joe Burrow, I think he's got to find it. He's got to find whatever it is that's off in his game right now. But I think if there's going to be a game where he captures that, it's the game today.
That's fair. Let me pull this up. Jimmy, you said, I know we were down, but since he isn't a bottom feeder. Well, if I go and look at the standings right now, let me pull this up. I want to make sure I don't have it incorrect. Let me see. You guys are 1 and 3. That puts you at tied for the worst record in the league, which means by that logic, you are a bottom feeder team right now. While I think you guys are better than that, it's not as fun to say, oh, the Bengals are so good. They're 1 and 3, yada, yada. The Bengals are a good team. I think they win today. It's only fun to make fun of the Bengals when you're a Browns fan. That's all it is. By either way, go Cardinals. I hope they beat the Bengals. Screw the Bengals. 1 and 4 would look hilarious in that Cincinnati. Yes. I can't wait to go to Skyline and eat chili and laugh at the Bengals cups that are in there being sold right now. So, sorry you bottom feeders suck right now. Let's move on.
I'm right here on your face.
Yeah, is that what that is? Okay, so sorry you guys can't get it together. So that's not my fault. David, Jets and Broncos, who we got?
Actually a pretty interesting game. I know this is another car crash bowl, but like honestly, Zach Wilson didn't play bad last week.
Best game I've seen him play.
Best game I've seen him play, and it was against one of the better teams in the NFL. Jets defense pretty darn good overall if you don't put them in bad situations. So I think Denver's been struggling. So even though they got the win last week, I'm feeling. Oh, Lord help me. I'm picking the Jets. I don't know how, but I'm picking the Jets this week.
Welcome to the
Let's
train.
go. Gang green. Jordan, what do we got?
Jets, Jets, baby. I think that defense.
Are we rallying around the New York Jets right now, guys? Brandon, are you taking the Jets? Don't ruin this right now. Don't ruin the momentum.
God, no. Go Broncos. Broncos, no. The Russell Wilson is back, baby. He's going to have a stellar game today against the Jets defense.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Jets also, guys. Us three seem to understand what's going on here. Somebody doesn't get it. This is a Jets podcast.
Not too many teams come back from a 21 to 3 halftime deficit.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's still
terrible team.
Like I said to Dylan the other day when we were doing the Bears show, Russell Wilson is still Russell Wilson. It's still Russell Wilson.
Jesus. That is a very generous way to put that.
I mean,
I'm just saying it's
half. I mean, Russell Wilson is not Russell Wilson in Denver.
Plus they're wearing probably the best looking uniforms this week. Have you seen them?
David,
look good, play good. Look good, play good. Look good, play good.
Denver came back and beat the 30th ranked defense in the NFL.
Yeah, that's true.
Comeback. The Jets are 15th with a terrible quarterback putting that defense consistently in bad situations. So,
Zach Wilson's not a terrible quarterback.
I'm not huge on Zach, but
he just needs reps. Zach Wilson needs reps and time.
Oh man, that hurts.
Zach Wilson needs reps and time and quarterback. He'll be fine.
We're not playing money ball here. I mean,
no. Yeah.
All right, let's move on. This is falling apart because of Brandon's shenanigans right now.
You're welcome.
The 3-1 Chiefs versus the 1-3 Vikings. I think this could be interesting because the Vikings can score points. David, Chiefs versus Vikings. Do you think it can be interesting? And give us your winner.
Do I think it could be interesting? Absolutely. The game's also in Minnesota this week. So, I mean, they got some great fans, man. So, they are dedicated. I love me some Minnesota fans. Got Skull going on. Look, there's been a couple of times this season when I've watched the Chiefs and kind of gone, are they as good as they have been? I still think they're a very solid football team. Very solid. But, it's the NFL. Teams, are not as far apart as everyone thinks they are. Minnesota's got a little bit of offense going on for them. They're at home. I think they could possibly pull the upset. I'm still leaning Chiefs, but it would not surprise me. Vikings I think they're capable, and I think they're slightly better than their record. Not really, but they're better than their record.
I think that's fair. Brandon, upset alert from the Chiefs?
I think Kansas City will get the win, but I agree. I think Minnesota is a better team than they are. Their schedule hasn't necessarily been the greatest to them. To start the season, you get Philadelphia and LA and and Tampa Bay. Yeah, they probably should have beat Tampa Bay. But to play Philadelphia and the Chargers back to back, that's rough as it is. And now you have to play Kansas City. So I agree. I don't think they're a 1-3 team, but I think Kansas City will get the win today.
Jordan, upset alert?
I'm going to go with the Vikings. You look at Kirk Cousins' history, even throughout the NFL. He beats the teams that he shouldn't more times than none. And you really look at how they played against the Jets, a couple different calls, and it's a different outcome.
That game was rigged.
He catches up to the Chiefs this week.
The truth was in.
That game was rigged. Up. Yeah. Guys, can I ask you guys a question? Did you guys now this has kind of been circling around. Did you guys know about Travis Kelce before he started dating Taylor Swift? David, did you know that?
No, I had no idea who Travis Kelce was. So, even
really
when I worked in Kansas City as a journalist, I had no idea who Travis Kelce was.
It's been so nice of Taylor Swift to put him on the map. Jordan, did you know anything about that Travis Kelce guy before he started getting in this high-profile relationship?
As a Bengals fan, I think we got to know a lot of Travis Kelce. Yeah,
Brandon,
Not a fun way.
down in Missouri, anything about Travis Kelce? You ever hear anything about him?
I knew he's a tight end, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really refreshing.
Been to 2 Super Bowls. I feel like I've seen him around before. I just don't remember where. But now that he's with Taylor Swift, it's just like
exactly.
Now I know who you're talking about.
It's nice to learn about these bench players every now and
then.
Yeah.
These role players that get lucky that these nice celebrities come out and pick them up and get them into a relationship, and we get to learn more about them. It's been really nice. Now this guy's getting these commercials that I'm seeing all the time. It's been really refreshing. So I did want to say thank you to Taylor Swift for putting Travis Kelce on the map.
I know where I seen him at. He's in that podcast with somebody else with the Kelce last name too.
Yeah, these Kelces.
That's where he's from. I knew I seen him before.
The real Kelce, Philadelphia.
Yeah, the real Kelce brother is Jason Kelce. We all know that.
That was championship level sarcasm by everyone. Thank you for that.
Okay, let's move on. I'm going to take the Chiefs also. Game of the week, Cowboys 49ers. David, can your Cowboys win this game?
Can they win it? Okay, look, I'm a Cowboys fan.
Will they win it then? Will they win it?
Okay, let me try this. Mike McCarthy drives me absolutely insane. I've been a Cowboys fan all my life. And I'm ready for pain and suffering this evening. So I'm leaning the 49ers. Will they win? No. Can they win? Yes. But as a Cowboys fan, I've gone through the gauntlet plenty since I've coming into this world. So I'm thinking the 49ers are going to win this game, unfortunately for us.
Jordan, Cowboys, 49ers. You don't seem to respect the 49ers. So if you don't pick the Cowboys, you're a fraud. Go ahead. I just wanted to preface it. Your pick. Go ahead.
I like the extra pressure on me, sir. I do. I think the Cowboys will squeak it out, and that'll answer pretty much the big question is that are they pretenders or are they contenders in the NFC? And I think this game answers all their questions. The 49ers have a defense that I do respect, but the offensive side of it, I just don't. If anything happened to Christian McCaffrey and or Brock Purdy, we saw what happened in the NFC Championship game. And I'm not sold outside of 2 or 3 positions on our offense that they can get it done against bigger teams.
Okay. Brandon, make your pick. Cowboys, 49ers.
That's a fair statement. I don't know what the offense would look like if they don't have CMC or if they don't have CMC. I think he's the big difference maker for that Niners offense. I don't necessarily know if Brock Purdy is that guy. I mean, sorry, he's good. But he does have Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. He leaves those 3 guys. But the systematic offense of the San Francisco 49ers should take the win tonight.
Yep. I'm going to go 49ers because the Cowboys haven't been America's team since the 90s. And they got to prove it. They got to prove it. This is the game right here. If the Cowboys do win this game, David, just go ahead. Tell us about America's team. Go ahead.
I would love to tell you about America's team and all the money and the largest fan base of the NFL and the largest international brand, but I'm ready for pain and suffering tonight. So you can't convince me otherwise as a Cowboys fan. I am ready to be in pain and suffering. Now, if we win this, you better believe I'm running around my house screaming we're going to the Super Bowl like a true Cowboys fan would. But I'm ready for pain. That's the truth.
Boys are back if they win.
Boys are back if they win.
How many? Okay, David, in your fandom, how many times have the Cowboys been back since the 90s?
That depends on who you ask. If you ask someone who lives in Dallas and is one of the Cowboys fans who's a root Cowboys fan like I am, we haven't been back for a while. We're better right now. We're getting back. If you ask the national, Cowboy fan base, we've been back about 20 times.
Just this season.
You ask, yeah.
From quarter to quarter, you guys have been back at least a couple times this year already. All right, guys, let's move ahead to Monday night. Packers versus Raiders. I've got to say, wasn't a big Jordan Love fan. Watching him play and the way he kind of controls the offense, I think has been impressive for his lack of experience. But something about Jimmy G, man. I don't know. I just always think he's going to find a way to win a game. Brandon, you're shaking your head down there. Who you got? Packers and Raiders.
Give me the Packers.
Yep.
Jordan Love is going to be he's got the national spotlight this week. He's gonna show off. I don't trust Jimmy G anymore. I was a huge Jimmy G fan when he was in San Francisco. I was like, yeah, Jimmy G, he's the greatest ever. Not so much anymore.
Jordan, what we got for Monday night?
I got the Packers, but I think it's going to be a close game. The Raiders still have Max Crosby, still have a great pass rush, still have a systematic quarterback that can, squeak by, but I think the Packers just have too much on offense.
Okay. David, what we got?
So both these teams, Raiders 26 in the NFL in yardage, Packers 27 in yardage. I think this is going to be a great football game. But I'm actually rocking on two parts here with the Packers. Number one, Jordan Love has not been a horrible quarterback. He's actually done pretty darn well. He's right behind Dak Prescott and passing yards this season. And then on the other side of that, I think Green Bay's got the better defense than the Raiders. So I'm going to be rocking the Packers here on Monday night.
I'm going to go with the Packers also. I do need a Josh Jacobs touchdown, but that's a different story.
Yeah, thanks.
I think it should be a good game. I think it's a solid Monday night game. I don't think either team. I don't think the Packers are infinitely better than the Raiders or vice versa. So I think we get a good football game on Monday night here. That's what I'm really rooting for. It's just good football to watch since neither of my team. None of these either are my team. But yeah, give me the Packers to win this one also. Guys, that covers our Week 5 preview. Guys, got anything before we start winding it down and getting out of here?
The Bears are going to rail off 13, 14 straight wins and make the NFC Championship game. It's just sarcasm. Goodness gracious.
No, write that down, guys. We want to make sure we keep all these things up. Keep all these things. Yeah, go ahead and
bookmark.
Bookmark it. Yeah, no.
I got a couple of those today because I said that one was a little tweet thing, and it said, "What can JJ McCarthy not do?" And it's like win a national championship.
That was good. I like that tweet. I thought that was a good tweet from you, David. Anything before we get out of here today?
Yeah, I'm going to be definitely curious to watch the Lions-Panthers game today, believe it or not. And the biggest reason I'm interested in watching that is to watch Bryce play. I'm really interested in seeing how he does. There's already some talk out there if he's a bust or not. It's too early really to say that. Yeah, no, but I've been hearing that from like I said, I got Carolina fans that I'm friends with, and they're panicking right now. But they got to get pieces around him. But I want to see how he responds this week after getting off to a rough start this season and see if he can't compete on the road. And try to make some plays. I'm not expecting a ton, but I'm wanting to see how he continues to progress throughout the course of the season.
We put too much pressure on young quarterbacks who don't understand the NFL yet.
Yeah, I 100% agree. There's been a culture shift in the NFL when it comes to quarterbacks a couple of years ago. And these kids need time to develop.
Yeah,
for sure. It's way too early to consider Bryce. That's insane. That's borderline insanity.
If Carolina was smart, they would have started was Andy Dalton, right?
Dalton, yeah.
They should have started Dalton and let Bryce Young sit behind them for at least half of the season. But then again, look what happened in Atlanta. You're seeing the repercussions of that happening too. Yeah. But you're seeing the positive side in Green Bay.
Yeah, absolutely. Chiefs did the same thing with Mahomes. They sat Mahomes a year and let him play behind Alex Smith, and then finally got him a start in Week 17, garbage time football for them. Yeah. And that was the first time Mahomes got a start. And then the next season, that's when they finally made the move. So I'm all for letting quarterbacks sit at least a year before throwing him out there. Andy Dalton should have been the starter for Carolina.
Fair, very fair. Jordan, anything before we get out of here?
My eyes, because I'm local, is in AFC North with the Bengals make an impact and really tighten up the division that's really not that far away. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, anything can happen. Still early in the year. Guys, this has been the Sunday Morning Tailgate from the Variety Sports Network. Would be remiss if I didn't mention we're at 419 subscribers. Thank you to everybody who subscribed, commented. Thank you to everybody who live viewed the show today. At one point, we were up to 9 or 10 live viewers. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for all the comments. Shout out to Tyler, Jenna, Jimmy, Caleb, everybody who commented during the show. And we will see you guys again next week. Sunday morning. We'll be here every week. bring a drink, enjoy the tailgate, and see you guys next week.